Fatality.
The Longhorns are Big 12 champs, technically forevermore, but definitely again. Welcome to the Orangebloods postgame show brought to you by the Loewy law firm. Adam Loewy, man, you're the sponsor of the postgame forever, and you've finally been rewarded with a Big 12 championship game thrashing performance. Texas 49, Oklahoma State, not nearly enough. Welcome into the Specs chat. We'll take your super chats all night long. You keep on sending them. We'll keep on taking them. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is Jason Sukamel. The Longhorns are Big 12 champions. They're on the stage right now. Quinn Ewers is about to get handed the championship game belt. And man,
Undertaker right beside him. Yeah.
When you throw for 452 yards and 4 touchdowns and don't even break a sweat, maybe you deserve the championship game belt. Welcome, guys. A lot to talk about as the Longhorns are Big 12 champions. They thrash Oklahoma State, and it gives them an opportunity to end up in the playoff. A lot of football still to go today, and we probably will do a watch-along of the Florida State-Louisville game at some point tonight because, hell, we're going to be up watching the game. Why not talk about it in Texas football at the same time? Jason, as it relates to this game, I'll let you have kind of the opening thoughts and the opening remarks. What stands out from what we just got finished watching?
What stands out is I try to turn off my phone.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's what stands out is just, domination from start to finish. Like I wrote in my post-game notes, I said, let's see. Is it too early to call time of death for Oklahoma State at 11:21 a.m.? This game just never felt like it was even close to evenly matched. Texas shuts down Ollie Gordon, which was the only real threat Oklahoma had. They take him out of the game because they blow it open early. Quinn Ewers was incredible. One bad pass all day. I love watching the Big 12 commish taking the mic and with Sark right beside him. I wish I could.
They're having to tell the crowd to stop booing.
I'm setting this to record so I can come back and watch it after we're done talking. But really a phenomenal performance by the Texas team. But I tell you what, man, Sark was at his best, right? His play calling in this thing was on point early on. Everything he did seemed to turn to gold. Just a phenomenal performance, dominant performance. I know we went back and forth this week whether style points matter. I think they do. Texas made a lot of style points in this game. The committee's watching. This is the only game on. Everybody was watching it. If it comes down to Texas versus Ohio State or maybe even Georgia or Alabama, I think Texas made an impression. I think Texas has a really good chance of getting the college football playoff as things stand now.
Real quick, we'll take a super chat just because it's on this topic. Angry Hammer says, Catch, how are those eyes now? Asking about the eyeball test. Look, Texas wins emphatically tonight. If Florida State's undefeated, is this enough to get Texas in?
I don't think so. You can't.
I don't think so, but it gives them something to think about. It's a hell of a lot better than the alternative. I think this was Texas's best performance of the season outside of the Alabama game. It's the closest we've probably seen to a 4-quarter performance, and maybe the only reason why we don't get there is because they didn't need to. It was really dominant against a decent to good Oklahoma State team. The confetti is flowing right now at AT&T Stadium. Steve Sarkisian has the trophy. Quinn Ewers has the trophy and the championship belt. Good for Quinn Ewers, man. What a game he had tonight. This is one of the things that he came here for. When you want to talk about legacies, one of the things I'm going to be writing about in my 10 thoughts from the weekend is this puts Quinn Ewers in rarefied air. We start talking about the quarterbacks that Longhorns have had that have won Big 12 championships. It's him, it's Colt McCoy, it's Vince Young, and James Brown. And, that's why you come to Texas to play quarterback, is to end up on lists like that. I think he tied a Big 12 championship game record with the 4 touchdown passes. It was just a terrific performance. And I think you're right, Jason. I think other than the end of the half game management where
whatever.
No, I know. Other than that, I think it was as good as we've seen Steve Sarkisian though, because I thought his game, I thought what he did from a play caller and a game manager as the guy directing the offense, it's the most balanced. We've seen this Texas team all season long. Sanders had 8 catches. Mitchell had 6. Worthy had 6. Whittington had 4 for 48 in the first half but he had 6 targets. Baxter, Blue, and Keelan Robinson combined for 9. They spread it all over the field in the passing game. They never truly got just rolling in the ground game, but they finished with 198 yards to go with the 464, which means they finished the day with 662 yards of offense, and that's with a foot on the brake basically in the last 15 minutes of the game. This is what they hired Sarkisian to do. Like this kind of performance on offense, all guns a-blazing. You couldn't be more impressed, I think, with what Texas did today. From beginning to end, they dominated this football game, and they shoved a big old crap sandwich in Oklahoma State's mouth. Like,
and hey, not sexy stats, but like Texas, 87 plays to 56 for Oklahoma State, 40 minutes time of possession to 19:54 for Oklahoma State. Texas averaged 7.6 yards per play, and that's with them sitting on the ball for most of the second half, dude.
Devondre Sweat got a touchdown. The Heisman pose.
What else can you want if you're a Longhorn fan? I know. Hey, I know what else we could want.
Don't ask that. Jason, I'm trying to get past it.
That field goal from Bert Auburn, you and I could have sure used that field goal. But other than that, man, just almost a flawless performance overall from this Texas team. Fun game to watch.
I will say this, Jason, on the prize pick front. I mentioned this in the on the watch along. So when they did the CeeDee Lamb Taco Tuesday pick, and so you had it's okay. Going to take CeeDee Lamb and the more. What is the one pick above all picks that you're going to bet your $25 on, right? So 25 to win 75. I went with the Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe combo. Okay. 484.5 yards.
Yeah, there you go.
And Ewers gets 452 of it.
I didn't package that, but I did a package where I had Ewers and CJ Stroud for tomorrow. Like they have to combine for like 500 and something. So I need CJ Stroud to throw for like 100 yards and I'll be good. But yeah, you might as well be counting that money as look,
it doesn't help the 1,500 that I didn't win because Bert Auburn finished with 7 kicking points instead of 8. I will remember that bad beat for the rest of my life. But it's a really good one. Rhett jumps into the super chat and says, your Mark wrote checks. The hateful 8 couldn't cash. Ball game, bitches. Actually, Rhett didn't say that, but you know what? For your $9.99, I'll add it in there.
Hey, how much is he regretting? It was one little comment. Not little. It was one comment he made, 5 seconds out of his life. How much would he like to have those 5 seconds back? I was just thinking as he's standing up on that stage and Sark's like giving him kind of some shit and like shaking on, in a fun kind of way. But how much would he like to have those 5 seconds of his life back? That had to make the last month of his life so uncomfortable, man. So
Kyle says Ketch's tweet about Ewers' completion percentage was elite's chef's kiss. Blake, I don't know if you saw that. If you it's kind of inappropriate. Blake, if you want to put that up, I think we can get away with it from a copyright standpoint. It's nobody else's tweet. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, Kyle. I thought it was funny. I also worried, am I going to get in trouble for that one? We'll see.
Yeah, now we got to put it up. Now I'm curious. I didn't.
The Joneses for $2 says, "Say my name." Very nice American Pie reference there. The Joneses. We've had a few American Pie references in the last 3 hours, just so you know, Jason, including somebody sending a super chat. Blake says he recommends.
All right, I'm going on Twitter now, so I'll be distracted.
I mean,
y'all can look that one up at GK Catch. It's up there.
I mean, we don't know what's happening in that video. It's in the Twitter GIF pile, so it can't be that bad.
Oh, okay, I see it. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah.
Anyway, so Jason, as we get ready. By the way, Anwar is at AT&T Stadium. I have no idea when Anwar is going to be able to join us today, because who knows when we'll actually get Sarkisian at the press conference podium. They're celebrating. He's going to go into the locker room. There's still a ways away. It's going to be Jason and I for a while. Jason, give me some more thoughts from today that jump out in your mind when you think about this performance.
You mentioned it, man. They spread the ball around really well. Hey, Malik Murphy finishes with the highest passer rating of any quarterback in the game. How about that, huh? 1 for 1, 12 yards, 200 passer rating. You know, the defense, I mean, they gave up 21 points, but some of that was, pass interference penalty, short field. It's Anthony Hill. I'm looking at the defensive stats. Like, I don't remember just any dominant defensive performances individually. I thought collectively they played pretty well. Anthony Hill had 6 tackles. I'm pretty sure he had 6.
He had 6 at halftime.
Half. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think I put that in my notes. So, Texas, I wouldn't say they ran the ball incredibly effectively. I mean, the Keelan Robinson 57-yarder kind of skews the stats a little bit, but I'm just really impressed. And I mean, you and I both said it, I think, in our predictions. I thought Ollie Gordon would get his, 100-ish yards just based on volume alone. Well, he only gets 13 carries because Texas basically takes him out of the game. And he was banged up a little bit. I mean, I'll give him that. But Texas takes him out of the game because it's a blowout. But still, on those 13 carries, catch 34 yards, 2.6 yards per carry. Like, in my matchups, I had Texas with the edge on defensive line, but I gave Oklahoma State still a slight edge on their run game just because Ollie Gordon's so good. But Texas just completely neutralized him. He did make some plays in the passing game. But, I mean, really, you mentioned the Alabama game. Maybe this is their best performance since the Alabama game. I think this is their best performance, period. I mean, that Alabama game is what it is, a huge win on the road. But if you talk about the way they played, I don't know that Texas played a better game than what we saw today over the course of this entire season.
Yeah, but Alabama in Tuscaloosa versus –
I get it. Listen, Oklahoma State's not very good. I mean, and I don't want to poop. This was an incredible win, but this was not a great or even a good Oklahoma State team that they beat. This was a pretty average team that I'm surprised found its way into the conference championship game. But that being said, hey, Texas did what it should do against average to, maybe slightly above average teams. Texas just put a beating on them in front of a national televised audience. I mean, Texas did what good teams do to average opponents, or really good teams do to average opponents. And I'm pretty excited to see what this team can do if it gets in the college football playoff. I mean, I don't think there's a team out there.
They can beat anybody they play, and that includes Georgia. I mean, yeah. Someone asked me today, they were talking about my comments about Oregon, and they were like, you thought Oregon would beat Texas if they played 7 out of 10 times. And I was like, whoa. No. I think those teams were so close that I might say Oregon 6 out of 10, but I really thought it was even closer than that. One team was slightly ahead of the other, and it doesn't really matter to me how you would flip them. I think Georgia is the only team in the country that I would say they might win 7 out of 10 against the Longhorns. And that might be too much. It might be a lot closer than that.
We can't forget, this is a Texas team that nearly lost to Houston and TCU. So, but the way they're playing the last couple weeks, you could certainly – I said – what was it on Thursday? I said Oregon's playing as well as anybody along with Georgia. Well, Oregon's obviously out of that discussion right now. So probably the two teams that are playing the best over the last couple of weeks would be Georgia and Texas. And we'll see what today. They still got to prove themselves today. So
yeah, and I can't wait for that game to begin. I'm looking forward to the rest of the night in college football, and then we'll see where the chips lie. I mean, it feels like at worst you're talking about a Texas team that's going to finish at 5th. and it's a matter of whether or not they can get fourth. I will say one of the things that we haven't mentioned, someone mentioned in the watch along thread. So right as the game was coming to an end, Xavier Worthy went live on Instagram Live. Someone said in the chat that Worthy said on the Instagram Live that it was a high ankle sprain.
Sark's, you probably didn't hear it. Sark did say in his exiting the field interview, X-rays were negative, so that's good. So, wherever their bowl game is, I would assume Worthy will be fine for the bowl game.
Well, I wouldn't assume anything.
High ankle sprain, you think
if it's a true high ankle sprain, it probably makes him.
You're looking at about 50, a month for their bowl game, so I mean he should be fine in a month, I would think. So, and we'll see.
The question is, if they're playing in a playoff, he's going to do everything he can to get healthy and get on the field. If it's the Cotton Bowl with the combine a month and a half later,
that's true.
You don't want to re-aggravate a high ankle sprain. So one of the things I said on the watch along is kind of dependent on the outcome.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Again, it depends on the severity. Like is it a true high ankle sprain? At which point a month is kind of the baseline for starting to come back from an injury like that. Sometimes it's more like 6 weeks. So I wonder, I don't know. It's just us speculating. But depending on what happens with the Longhorns in the bowl game, we may have seen the last of Xavier Worthy.
Well, you hate to think of him going out like that, right? I mean, it sucks.
I'll tell you what, we've been hearing that Ja'Tavion Sanders is coming back. If they had fed him the ball all season like they did today, he'd be going too. He was sensational today. Easily his best game since the Alabama game. 8 catches for $105 and a touchdown. And
he had 9 targets. I thought he did it on 8 targets. I put 8 in my write-up. But
he had 8 catches on 9 targets.
I thought the same thing when I was watching that catch. I put in my notes about how great he was today, and I'm thinking, gosh, I hope that does that change his mind potentially about coming back or staying? I
wouldn't think so, but because I've heard that part of coming back isn't completely football related or his draft stock related. That it might be a little bit of like Ricky Williams, where like he might just feel like another year of college would do him good. Mm-hmm. So it's, of all of the decisions that could take place on this team, I don't think that one's as cut and dry as, well, he could be a day 2 pick. And like, does he want to be a day 1 pick, or is that the kind of, I don't think it's completely about that. But had he been targeted 9 times a game like he was today, I don't know how you'd keep him from the NFL at that point, because you're probably talking about 1,000+ yard season and, maybe even like first team. He was first team All-America good today. Mm-hmm. And it was good to see that Sanders back, because I don't feel like many times this season I've been able to say that out loud, that he was first team All-America. He was Mackey Award level good today. He hasn't been able to be that guy all season long, although he did earn he tied for first team all Big 10 or Big 12 tight end honors. So it's a good season, but man, today he was special. Adonai Mitchell was fantastic over the middle. 6 catches for 109 yards on 8 catches, averages 18.2 yards per game. I mean, they spread the ball around. I feel like if it had been a closer game, they would have probably got Jordan Whittington even more involved, because I thought Whittington was also fantastic today. 4 for 48 in the first half. Again, they kind of shut it down a little bit offensively, all things considered. And they just, the fourth quarter was the fourth quarter, and they didn't do a whole lot offensively there. But even in the third quarter, it slowed down a little bit. Again, we mentioned it earlier. Sark was sensational in spreading the ball around and making sure that everybody got involved.
Dude, I love the screen game that he used. I mean, Oklahoma State's pretty aggressive. They got pretty aggressive linebackers. He used that against them in the screen game. The flea flicker worked to perfection. The call to Tavondre Sweat, I said in my write-up, I said, Sark's just effing with him at this point, right? When he's throwing touchdown passes to Tavondre Sweat. But, I thought Sark as a play caller, and we hear every week the talking heads in the media, he's one of the best, if not the best play caller in the country. And I'm not going to dispute that. But there have been times this season when the offense has been kind of stagnant. But, boy, today it felt like any button he pushed was the right button and at the right time, and guys were getting open, making big plays. I mean, it was just, Sark has to feel fantastic coming out of this game.
Well, we'll go to the super chats because they're starting to pile up, so we'll start hitting on those. But 4 plays on the first drive that they scored on, 4 plays on the second drive that they scored on. It felt like they were at 28 points offensively before Sark would have even come off of like a 15-play script. They really had it cooking. Going to the super chat from Texas TV. It's been 14 long years of hurt and pain, but after watching this game today, it was worth it. Damn proud of these young men and staff. Best Christmas gift. Hey, let's hope it's not the best Christmas gift. Let's hope it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best post-Thanksgiving Day gift. Let's leave Christmas open for now, if you don't mind, Texas TV. No offense. But
and the day could get better, Texas TV. I mean,
exactly. It's not the best Christmas gift.
I said it earlier in the week, dude. I'm doing this post-game show with you. I got my cooler down here with my beer. I said I would shotgun a beer if Texas won. I got a cooler. When we're done this post-game show, I'm going to get a big-ass steak, and I'm going to cook a steak tonight and watch football and just enjoy the night, man. So
I might do the same, but it might be like Grubhub. Like I might have Perry's deliver a steak so that I don't necessarily have to do any work. But you cook better than I do, Jason, just in general.
I like grilling. Yeah.
Jamie says BJ with Crazy Bevo on his laptop like a boss. Is that Brian Jones? I didn't see it if that's what you're referencing, but that wouldn't surprise me if Brian Jones had Crazy Bevo on his laptop. Our guy Jay jumps in, $1 super chat. Come on, Jay. Just say it. Come on. He says, you think we squeeze in if FSU barely wins the game?
I think they should be in. I don't think they will be. And I don't think you can leave an undefeated conference champion in Florida State out, even though they're not playing well. They're on maybe their third quarterback. I don't think they deserve it over Texas. I think Texas would boat race FSU as those two teams are right now. But I think FSU gets the nod, and, you can't be too mad at that.
Well, and I don't know that the committee completely respects level Texas the way they do Oregon before last night. I mean, they've kept Texas behind Oregon for 5 weeks. Ohio State loses. I think Texas is going to jump ahead of Ohio State, but I always felt like the Ohio State ranking this week was a reflection of kind of where they do have Texas in this grand scheme of things. Look, if Florida State loses, Texas is in. But if Florida State wins, I don't know that it's going to be enough. I think the answer is can, yes. Will, not so certain. I hate to be the one to say that out loud along with Jason. Like, we don't mean to be the potential bearers of bad news, but realistically, I think it's going to take a Louisville win for Texas. And look, they're like 3-point favorites. I mean, that's basically –
there's a scenario catch if Florida State wins. If Alabama beats Georgia, you don't think Texas could jump, obviously, Ohio State and then stay ahead of Alabama and then Georgia fall? Do you think there's a scenario where Texas gets in and no SEC team gets in?
No, I don't.
I didn't before this game. I do.
Still don't.
I don't know, man. I think
it's not there because the committee knows that the SEC is the best conference in America.
So who do they take then? Alabama over Texas?
I think Georgia's in.
You think Georgia's in regardless of what happens?
I think Georgia's in before this game kicks off, unless they lose by 10 or more.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I don't.
Well, I'm not saying I'm right. That's my.
Yeah, I don't feel as strongly about. I don't know how you take a Georgia team, and they did it with TCU last year. I know, but how do you take a Georgia team that loses to Alabama, a team that Texas beat on its home turf?
I think they look at Georgia's resume and they'll say they coming into this game where they're undefeated. They played 3 top 20 teams and they've beaten them by a combined 73 points. And I think they'll say that's one of the best 4 teams. It's just my opinion. We don't know what this committee will do. There's no guidelines that they have to follow. So how they pick the first team and the second team could be completely different than how they decide the third team and the fourth team get in. But I think a lot has to happen. Look, Beast, which is an interesting name without it. Come on, get an avatar if you're going to be Beast, and put a beast in there. Texas is in if FSU falters or Michigan falls.
Yeah, we're not even talking about Michigan. I mean, we don't
By
expect
the way, did
that.
you see that 3 different members of Game Day
Picked Iowa.
picked Iowa?
I
Okay.
hope they're right. I hope they're right. But
Hey, we'll all take that. Which in that case, you know why you'd want that to happen? Because then, no matter what happens, I think you'd look at Texas being a 2 or a 3. So let's say Michigan loses, then Ohio State and Texas might both get in a world where Michigan loses, depending on,
what a
or
screw job
Texas
for
could get
Michigan.
in and both SEC teams get in.
Michigan just beat Ohio State, and a week later, Ohio State's getting it's just freaking chaos.
Or Texas would get in if Georgia wins. Michigan's the 4 seed, but if you're Texas and you could avoid Georgia in the first playoff round, I think Texas is better than the other. I think Texas is better than Washington right now by a little bit, and I think they beat Michigan. I wonder if Michigan could keep up with Texas. But I also am kind of would love to see a Texas-Georgia playoff game. Like, what the hell? Let's just do it. So,
well, I'm rooting for Iowa, and I'm rooting for Florida State.
You're rooting for all the underdogs.
Yeah, because I want to see chaos, dude. I want to see this. I mean, A, that gets Texas in and makes our jobs more fun. B, I want to see this committee sweat. I want to see chaos, man. Let's see it.
Steven says Texas could have easily scored 2 more touchdowns had they not left off the gas in the fourth quarter. Look, Steven,
they needed one more PAT, Steven. Rub it in, dude. Catch it.
They could have had 10 more points in the first half. Ewers throws the interception in the second quarter when the offense was like rolling at that point. You know, if that play doesn't happen, there's a good chance that Texas ends up with points there. They left 3 bizarrely. Excuse me, I get the hiccups. In the waning seconds of the first half. And then, they took the fourth quarter off. So, Steven, you're right. It could have been 2 more touchdowns easily. That was a name-your-score game for Texas. They outclassed Oklahoma State in every way that Oklahoma State could be outclassed. James S. says Gordon with the rushing advantage, right, Jason?
Oh, I loved all the hindsight being 50-50, people. Hey, I had Texas edge across the board, but I just said Ollie Gordon's.
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare me say the leading rusher in the country. By the way, not by a little bit. He's like 100 yards coming in today was the leading.
He's going to win the Doak Walker Award.
Yeah, and he should. I mean, I thought Ollie Gordon would get his based on volume. Texas took him out of the game by blowing the doors off early, and he was never he was more of a factor in the passing game than he was the running game, honestly.
James, we appreciate your $10 spike super chat.
I'll take those jabs. Keep them coming, James. We're gonna pay. Yeah, keep them coming.
Jay Harvo 7 says Sadir Mitchell next to Sweat in the stadium looked massive together on the field. Stadium was rocking. Let's effing go! I did that like a soccer announcer. Thank you, Jay Harvo 7. Be safe if you're in the stadium traveling to get home. By the way, Alabama, Georgia is underway. Opening kickoff goes out of bounds. Alabama with possession will be taking control of the ball in good field position as that game gets started. We'll keep you updated on that as we continue to go into the Loewy Law Firm postgame show. By the way, guys, thumbs up. Look, if you can't hit the like button on a postgame show, sell it. That my dogs are telling you. On a day when the Longhorns win the first Big 12 championship since 2009, tell them, dogs, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, get notifications. Hey, dogs, shut up!
This is random, but 2 moments I loved in this game, right? The Sweat TD someone just mentioned, that was awesome. And I love seeing Jonathan Brooks on the field for that last play. What a cool move by Sark. That totally caught me by surprise. Let him get on the field for that last play when Texas takes a knee. You know, he certainly deserved to be on the field. And I thought that was a real cool move by Sark to get Jay Brooks on the field like that.
Jason, I may let you take over for 5 seconds while I go take care of some dogs. Can you talk for like 15? Well, hold on. They're calming down. We must have had a delivery.
You got them riled up with your let's effing go.
I know, but I think it may have been more like the Amazon delivery person got them going. I think they're chilling out. If I can't get Lizzie, come here. Lizzie.
Hey, I'm looking at their stats. Like, I thought Brendan Presley was a good player for Oklahoma State. We know Ollie Gordon's good, but Texas pretty much took him out. But I don't know. I just was not impressed with Oklahoma State. I mean, Bowman's what he is at a quarterback, right?
No, they're crap.
Yeah, like is that a credit to Mike Gundy that he got that team in the Big 12 championship? Does that just mean that the Big 12 is that bad? I mean, that's not a team that should be playing on December 2nd in a conference championship game. That's just a bad light for the Big 12. But again,
one of the things I said, Jason, on Friday got people really riled up was I was like, I know that the computers are telling us that the Longhorns have a schedule advantage, but if the schedule advantage is the Big 12 versus other conferences, or I tell you what,
you want me to just do some super chats and
you knock out some super chats, I'll be back in 30 seconds.
All right, Blake, I don't have control of that, so I'll let you put up some super chats. Oh, York also cried. I almost cried. I didn't get to, I had it on mute, so I didn't get to see it, but I am anxious. I record the game, so I'm anxious. As much as I want to go back, I like to go back and sometimes watch these games. I am anxious to watch the post-game celebration on the field, the ceremony. I didn't get to see his face or anything, but as I said a little bit ago, just shotgun a beer for us. That's not a bad idea, Derek said in the chat. Just shotgun a beer. Maybe that's not a bad idea. I did say last week if they won the Big 12 championship, I would do it. But yeah, man, he's got to regret those 10 seconds of sticking his foot in his mouth, and it's made for some uncomfortable moments for him, but it's been fun for Texas. So Brooks in for the last snap was pure class and team first mentality. Absolutely. I mean, I didn't expect it. I didn't think I'd see it, but as a guy, and you guys have heard me talk, man, I covered Jonathan Brooks as a recruit. I think he's a phenomenal player, obviously, but he's a guy as a recruit who was always one of my favorites to cover. Came from a small town, kind of got overlooked a little bit, always handled himself with class. So I thought that was an awesome move by Sark.
What was it that happened?
They put Jonathan Brooks, that last kneel down when Arch took the knee, Jonathan Brooks was standing behind him on the last play of the game. I
didn't even realize he was in uniform.
I think he just put it on for that play, dude. I think I showed him earlier on the sidelines, and he was just in uniform.
Regular clothes.
Yeah, but he put on a uniform for that play, dude, and he was out there on the field. Yeah. So
okay. Cool. That I think is telling.
Did he fall?
Potentially, yeah.
I think it's just a reward. Well, maybe you're right, but I think it's just rewarding, and a guy who's an awesome person and an awesome leader, had a great season. And
if you're coming back, is there really a huge need to get out there? Look, I might be wrong. I'm just saying.
He was walking around in pregame on the sidelines really well.
He's still got to get a surgery.
Well, but I don't think there's any risk by running him out
there.
No,
I don't either.
Big 12 championship game. I mean, maybe you're right, but I didn't look at it as okay. That's saying that he's probably leaving. I just thought
I'm telling you, my Spidey senses are telling me
one of the best players and best people on that team.
You're right. I'm just telling you, my Spidey senses are going off. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but my Spidey senses are going off. Jonathan says, so happy we went ultra petty like Anwar wanted. Definitely an amazing moment. F Yarmar.
I've seen his name typed like 10 different ways, but the commissioner, I'm not even sure which one's right, to be honest. But
by the way, Georgia driving early. Alabama went 3 and out. Georgia's got the ball. It's going to be 3rd and 1. They're in field goal-ish range at this point. We'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the SEC. James also said, root for Louisville and Bama. 1 is a guarantee. 1 is a chance.
Yeah, no, I'm fully on board with both of those, James. I'm rooting for both those teams. Even though you talked shit about me earlier. I guess we'll be on the same page with
money. It's okay. JWell321 says, if FSU wins big somehow, Bama winning ugly is our only shot. It's not true because Michigan could lose to Iowa. So technically you're wrong. Bama winning ugly if FSU were, I think, just to win. But yeah, to win big, there are multiple pathways still in. The good news about winning at 11 a.m. is that for the rest of the day, you've done your part. We'll see if everybody else can do theirs.
Mitch, are you on YouTube TV?
Yes.
Tonight will be the perfect night for what they have their 4 game, but this is the 2-box thing with Michigan and Iowa and Louisville, Florida State at 7:00. I will be parking my ass on the couch and just have those two going side by side. That's going to be a lot of fun.
James says, been watching for a long time for 1995. Thank you, James. For the first time in forever, we can celebrate a freaking Big 12 championship. Unless Bama kills Georgia and FSU blows up Louisville, I see Texas in the playoff. James, hallelujah. Hey, it's been a long time. Like, I think one of the things I wrote about, Jason, in my column on Sunday was like, this has been a great season. And there's a world out there where, like, on Monday, everybody's going to go jump off the 360 bridge. Texas finishes 5th, and it would, for a lot of people, feel like a massive, massive, massive disappointment. And I get it, man. We've all got the playoff flu. We all have it. But they're 12. By the way, touchdown Georgia. They are up early, dictating terms early against Alabama. It's been a 12-1 with the Big 12 championship. That exceeds what I thought this team would do in a big way. It's the best season since 2009. We got people like Oscar who are young subscribers or members of Orangebloods Live who are 24 years old. And the last time this happened, they were 9 and don't remember, or they were 7 and don't remember.
It was in grade school.
Make sure that no matter what happens, someone who was in high school, you know, a senior in high school in 2009 is in their 30s today with a wife and kids, and life has changed, and don't ever take anything for granted. And I love the fact that Texas won the first Big 12 and now wins the last one that they can. They didn't win a lot in between. I think we've always grumbled about the inability to consistently win that thing.
Hey, they won the last Southwest Conference, right? Won the first Big 12. Hey, maybe it's a pattern. Maybe that tells us something for next year. Let's hope so.
Well,
right?
I tell you what, the thing about beating A&M for that last Southwest Conference championship is that it made it easy to never look back at the Southwest Conference. Never. And I think that will be the case now. You win. It's like beating A&M, right? It's like when Justin Tucker made that kick, years went by and people just didn't care about the fact that they hadn't played A&M. They won the last one. I think that I think everybody's ready to move on to the SEC anyway, but winning means you don't really have to leave with regret. You won the last one, and hey, Texas fans can put their heads on a pillow tonight and know nobody in the Big 12 that remains has any kind of scoreboard on them in any capacity. You beat Baylor to death. You beat TCU. You pile drive Texas Tech. You just took Gundy, who'd been a nemesis for so long. You made him taste it. Like, it really was almost a perfect season with regards to the way Texas was able to handle the Big 12. And if it meant winning the Big 12 or losing to Oklahoma, or beating Oklahoma and losing the Big 12, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was damn near perfect. And I would argue it was perfect in the ways that mattered most. Jay Hartzell on Twitter says, really proud of Quinn and his completion percentage.
Is that true? Did he really say that? Or is Wesley making that up? Because that's pretty funny if he really said that.
It is. You know what? I'm going to say that Wesley didn't waste $10 to misrepresent Jay Hartzell on the postgame show. Blake says he did. I believed it, Blake. Everybody, what I love is that in victory, everybody can just be a little bit snarky. By the way, Georgia went 8 plays, 83 yards in less than 4 minutes. All right, Alabama, your serve in a championship game setting. By the way, Texas fans, don't worry about if Alabama loses, what does this do to our You're going to get respect from Alabama. Nobody's going to say, well, Alabama lost, so now that's no longer a good win.
Yeah. Alabama lost to Georgia in the championship game on a neutral field.
Don't stress, okay? You've done what you've needed to do. You are the number one-loss team. And now it's just a matter of whether or not there are 3 or 4 or 2, depending on what happens with Michigan and Iowa, undefeated teams at the very end of this game of musical chairs. Angry Hammer says, Gundy is a master at the defensive subs to eat play clock. that rule is written worse than the Big 12 tiebreaker.
Yeah, they got to do something about that. I got to think they'll put some wording in there because he is a master at it. And people are bitching about it, and I get it. It's frustrating, but hey, dude, he found kind of a loophole to beat the system. So it's pretty smart play.
You know what, though? I've seen that all season long, and it's the rule. The rule
somebody else tried to do it against Texas recently.
Because what happened, Jason, that made that a problem was that Texas did substitute.
And they were really late getting their field goal team out there. Kind of remember, because they looked for a minute like, oh, they might not kick the field goal.
The rule is if you substitute,
yeah,
the defense has to have a chance to substitute.
But
and the rule isn't if they substitute and the defense gets to substitute, they have to run out onto the field as fast as possible.
But here's the rule.
Was Texas's fault.
Here's the rule. Travis sent this in our Slack. Once the defense starts their substitution, they get to fully complete it with incoming players getting in position, exiting players fully off the field. The offense always puts itself in jeopardy when it substitutes late. The rules specifically allow 3 seconds for the defense to react to the substitution, and that 3 seconds begins when the offense has clearly declared who is coming in and who is going out. Well, Texas took a little bit of time before they sent their field goal team. So, the rule kind of sucks, but, Gundy didn't do anything right. It was a smart play by Gundy on that.
No, it was – I've seen it all season long. When teams substitute there, the defense will just take its sweet time. You'll see they'll have big guys coming onto the field.
Just kind of laboring to get out there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I didn't think at that point, Oklahoma State's kind of getting – I thought, well, that's what I've seen happen all year long.
And frankly, Sark had a timeout. He could have
He had two timeouts.
Yeah, he could have avoided the delay of game.
Believe me, Jason, I was losing my mind.
Oh, yeah.
With regards to the game. Because the thing is, we had just applauded Sark calling a timeout at the 44-second mark. And I was like, okay, he's using his timeouts. He's not going to go to halftime.
Knowing what we know now, that those 5 yards might have cost Bert Auburn a field goal, then it really pisses us off. But Sark, to his credit, Catch, I don't think you hear the audio. When he came off the field, he was asked about it. He said, hey, that was on me. I should have taken the timeout. So to his credit, he owned
exactly. It. If that is the biggest complaint on a conference championship game day, that your coach screwed up the game management of a field goal that would have made it 52 instead of 49, you've had yourself a really good day. Paul says, Brooks threw on pads, Arch turned and handed him the ball after kneeling. Amazing moment in a day of amazing moments. Paul, I got to go back and watch that. We talked about it a little bit earlier. That's really cool.
What up, Paul? Paul's my dude, too. So, thanks for the super chat, Paul. Good to hear from you always.
Paul's
dude.
not the one calling you out in the super chat?
No. Paul and I, we're buddies. Like, Paul lives out in Arizona. I want to go try to see him at some point and connect. But
Beast says Michigan loses 5-3. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Hey, you might not be too far off, dude.
I was about to say, are you trying to be funny? Because that feels halfway serious.
Yeah, you might not be too far.
Interesting question here from Darkborg. How does this season rank against 04 for y'all?
It's a good question, but there's so much left in this one, right? Because, I feel like the day is only halfway over for us. 04 was a lot of fun. And anytime you have Vince and you beat Michigan in the Rose Bowl, right?
It's hard to compare, Jason, because we remember 04 because of the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. To me, 04 still is probably one 20 years from now that I'll remember more than this one, depending on what happens over the next 12 hours, right? Or whatever it is, not even 12.
I think this season is better than 04, but the season's better. They won the Big 12, and they won the Big 12 going on the road at Alabama as well. They ended, in both cases, they lose to Oklahoma. There's just the context of 04 was that they hadn't ever won a major bowl game. They'd only gone to the Fiesta Bowl in 96 and got their teeth kicked in by Penn State. In 95, in the old system, they went and played Virginia Tech in the Sugar Bowl and kind of got their ass kicked in that game too by Jim Drunkenmiller. And then in between that, They just had never had that moment. It was the first big moment of the Matt Brown era, and it was a historically spectacular performance by Vince Young before the next spectacular moment. You know, you win the Rose Bowl on a field goal at the death. Like, we got to see what happens with the bowl game, because 2004 had a spectacular finale.
Yeah.
But from a season standpoint, this is, I think, a better season than what we saw in 2004. We got a $5 super chat from, I don't think it's the Hall of Famer, John Lynch, but it could be, saying, not the Hall of Famer, started at Texas in 2010, no wife and kids, but certainly happy to watch this after a long 13 years. It's been 13 years, but it's been 14 seasons. So absolutely live it up. Enjoy yourself. It's a hell of a day in Texas history. Kudos to Steve Sarkisian and his staff. You know, he's taking a lot of shit, and look, deservedly so. He was 13-12 at Texas going into this season, 5-7, no bowl wins. The resume was screaming for more, and they delivered. And to the victor go the spoils. This is going to lead almost certainly to a contract extension for Sark that probably doesn't double his salary, but probably isn't far away from that either. Kudos to all of the players. You know, Quinn Ewers coming back from injury. There's a lot.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, we both had the same reaction.
Almost the Bama interception. Hey, Quinn, I was thinking about it. Obviously, today's a big stage. He puts up his biggest game of the year. Alabama, big stage. He puts up, I don't have his numbers in front of me, but a huge game. Washington, I mean, he plays his best in the biggest games, right? Washington last.
He has.
Yeah, I mean, you know, kudos to him. I mean, when the chips are on the table, he's at his best, and he certainly was today. So.
Georgia punting on that drive after the near interception that made Jason and I both make our O faces. Midway, first quarter, Georgia 7, Alabama 0. We'll see if I thought Alabama might have got a little pressure there. They did, but not enough to do any damage. Alabama will be getting the ball near midfield. You know, the one thing I hope doesn't happen, Jason. And by the way, guys, we're all caught up on super chats. So if you want to send a super chat and get in right away, we're all caught up. We're waiting for Anwar to join us. Blake, have you noticed whether or not, I got to believe by now, Sarkisian started?
Correct. Yeah, I've been seeing tweets from Anwar. He has been talking to the media.
Okay, perfect. John, how are we ahead of John? Hold on. Well, what the hell? I hate when sometimes my mouse does something a little crazy here. John says, how are you ahead of my stream? I don't know. I'm watching on YouTube TV.
Yeah, we're usually behind.
Never ahead of anything. Maybe it's a CBS thing. I don't know. I can assure you, when I was watching the ABC game, Texas and Oklahoma State, I wasn't ahead of anybody. I don't want to see Texas get into the Cotton Bowl against Missouri.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I think Missouri's a really good team, and they're a fun team to watch, right? I've watched some Missouri this year.
They're dangerous. That's not.
Yeah, they are. They are, and I don't know that that's a great matchup for Texas, because they got a lot of receivers. They can spread the ball and throw it around, which is Texas's one.
I think it would be a very good game, actually.
Yeah, well, it also depends on who all plays in the game, but also it's in Dallas. Missouri's going to be a conference foe starting next.
It's in Jerry World, so they're literally there right now.
So it's like, it just doesn't have a lot of sex appeal to me, other than I think it'd be a fun, exciting game with a lot of points potentially, but I'd much rather see Texas. What's that?
I said the Ryan Wingo Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He and I talked about that last week when he visited. He said that'd be pretty interesting, and he's well aware that it's a possibility, and he's pretty excited if it happens. So.
Just a real quick to talk about Ryan Wingo, I'm shocked that Missouri kind of waved the white flag on that, and they haven't completely quit, but they've kind of completely quit.
He basically said they have. Yeah, he said he doesn't really hear from him much, and I forget what his quote was. He goes, "That's fine by me. I'm committed." And
it's kind of amazing that Texas is getting a 5-star receiver out of Missouri in a year when Missouri's having. I mean, my God, if you're Missouri, you're having one of the best seasons that you've ever had. You're in the top 10.
He and Luther Burden are tight too, man.
Yes, their offense is badass.
Yeah, so that's why everybody thought it was trending to Missouri at the end. And then even when he committed to Texas, I remember talking to Missouri people and I agreed. And I was like, this ain't over. Yeah, he's committed to Texas, but we'll see what happens in December. But and talking to Ryan Wingo last week, he's like, I mean, hell, he brought his grandmother down to watch the Texas game with him.
That's really a deal closer right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously he's pretty happy with things. And again, we got almost 3 weeks till signing day, but I don't think there's anything to be worried about with Ryan Wingo based on my conversation with him.
Ryan says for $2 in the super chat, QE3 for Heisman in 2024.
He will absolutely be in the discussion, the preseason discussion. Now, my only concern there is he's losing so many weapons. Can they reload in the portal? Can Jonte Cook take that next step? Ryan Wingo, maybe some of these guys.
Well, I think the SEC is getting to be first team all SEC at quarterback next year could be quite a battle. We're watching 2 quarterbacks right now, both with Georgia and Alabama, that I think are expected to bring their quarterbacks back. So I think, I think, sorry, Jason, distracted there. I don't know what happened. I think that, yes, he's going. My guess would be that Ewers will enter as a top 5 favorite for the Heisman. He did this year. He started the season ranked with like the 4th best odds of anybody in the country. I think it will start out that way again. He certainly will be a candidate, whether or not he's the best quarterback in the SEC next year. Like that, that's what it will take. But yeah, look, he's building, he's finishing the year strong. He just had his best game of the season. And yeah, there's a lot of reason to be excited about a return for Quinn Ewers. However, let's say Quinn Ewers gets Georgia in a first-round matchup and throws for 400 yards. I know that's a big number. But if he were to just go apeshit in a game, in a playoff, and then let's say Texas had success in the playoff.
Does that change his?
It could.
Yeah.
It could. If you were Ewers, you did today, okay, you just had you literally got a WWE championship belt for your performance today. If you could get 2 more anywhere near like that, you probably, it's probably up for some consideration at that point. That's it for our super chat.
I saw on Twitter, someone said Sark gathered the team. This is from Danny Davis, by the way, at a practice this week and told them that Jonathan Brooks would be on the field for the final play when Texas won a Big 12 championship game. So pretty cool and pretty prophetic of Sark.
It makes it easier to pull something like that off when you're not making it up on the fly. Hey, let's get a uniform ready for Brooks. They would have had it.
I didn't even pay attention. Was he wearing 24? Was he wearing his jersey, or did he just grab his? I don't know. But he had to have been kept on the active roster, obviously, right?
Well, it's not the NFL. They don't have to.
Yeah,
Sark said that he would have been one of their traveling squad.
Well, but Sark said this week they could take the entire team. They could come up the day.
Not everybody could dress.
Yeah, but so they left him on as one of the.
Yes,
80, I think it was, that could dress out. So
and that just means that one of the freshmen.
Yeah.
Probably just doesn't suit up in all likelihood. What did I just see that I was going to put up? Oh, Texas Guy 2 said the WWE belt was lame. I disagree, Texas Guy 2. I thought it was pretty cool. I bet as long as Quinn Ewers lives, he has that belt. It'll be on a wall somewhere, and there will be other guys in that Texas. You know who liked it? I'm betting the kids. I bet the players loved it.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Park says, no to Evan Stewart. No quitters, please. Jeremiah, I don't think you have to worry about that. I think, by the way, Jason, so Pete Thamel mentions earlier today the stuff that we had reported about Quinn Ewers a couple of weeks ago. And then someone mentioned, I guess he mentioned that. Did you have that, Blake, the screenshot?
Yeah, Quinn started following a couple of receivers on Instagram. And
both of the 2 guys that I've mentioned in the War Room and the War Room thread from Thursday night were guys that
Purdue kid, yeah.
The kid from Purdue, yeah. So, Yeah, it's probably a pretty good indicator of where things stood, certainly coming in to today. By the way, Alabama kicks a field goal. That game has slowed down a little bit. 7-3 Georgia, 3:43 to go in the first quarter. Let's see. Did we get a super chat? Did somebody sneak in there? Okay. Steven says, are you guys aware of any potential politicking between Texas mega donors, Sark, and the CFP committee going on behind the scenes? Yes. Right now, the family of Red McCombs has offered the committee $5 million to put. I haven't any politicking behind the scenes. Stephen, what I would say is if you're Sark, he needs to channel. I've been saying this for the last 24 hours. He needs to channel his inner Mac Brown. He needs to do what Greg Sankey did on game day today. He needs John Bianco to give him a sheet of paper with every single pro-Texas talking point that exists. And he needs to be on at halftime of this game between Alabama and Georgia. He needs to be on in the middle of the game between Florida State and Louisville. In the third quarter, I want a Steve Sarkisian interview. And because that's what Mac Brown did, and that's what Mac Brown did that worked. I don't think it's about mega donors. I think it's about Steve Sarkisian doing the thing that he told his local media that he hoped they would do. It's not enough, Sark. You have to be the most vocal proponent of your program until
he was campaigning for the local media. Like, no, dude, you need to be on national ESPN and CBS and whoever has the games tonight. Yeah, I mean, local media. I mean,
nothing from Orangebloods or the Statesman is going to move the meter with regards to the playoff. But Sark can ring the bell loudly and do the thing again. Mac Brown did it in 2004, and it worked. I don't care what anybody says. Mac Brown turned himself into a headline, right? You could go to like ESPN.com and it would be like Brown advocates Texas into the playoffs. And like you got to rattle some cages. And if you walk away from this and Warwick Dunn and Brad Johnson and, every Florida State great hates you, if Jordan Travis is like, I hate Mac Brown, you got to do what you got to do. Not Mac Brown, Steve Sarkisian, but you know what I meant. Harry Orange Wookie says, Brookson on that last play got me in my feels. The culture that Sark has built and the atmosphere around this team just hits differently. Jay Witt getting the championship. Incredible. Hashtag 12 wins, Sark.
Yeah, Witt had, he had 6 targets, 4 for 48. I wondered early on, I almost played him in prize picks. I was like, I can see.
I did too, but I stayed away from both him and Sanders.
Yeah, because I just thought, Sark might, try to feature Witt a little bit, and I think he purposely did. I mean, they did spread the ball around quite a bit, but it was good to see Whittington being involved. I mean, yes, great to see him get a championship, as Harry Orange Rookie said, but also great to see him be involved in a part of it, not one of these games where he was just kind of an afterthought and didn't get any action. So good finish to his I won't say his Texas career. Obviously, still got at least one more game, but good finish for Witt and good for him and the seniors to get that championship.
The thing about the culture is this is a team built largely on NIL. I mean, they've had some success in the portal. I mean, Ewers is your MVP today. You get him through the portal. You got Adonai Mitchell into the portal. Keelan Robinson has a big game in the portal. Ryan Watts is out, but he was a portal guy. But it's not so much even the portal. That's some of it. But it's also NIL. This is a team. Got a lot of dudes on that team making a lot of money on NIL. Tavondre Sweat is back because of NIL. They were able to keep guys happy because of NIL. It's interesting that the thing that people worried about was, well, I don't know if I can like a team anymore because they're not here for the uniform. They're not here for the school. They're here for the paycheck. This is an NIL transfer portal team. A little bit like Florida State too, right? Like they're not there Without either of those two things, specifically the portal, when you look at Florida State, it's a little bit different with Texas. It's apples to grapes instead of apples to apples. But I'm fascinated by the fact that Sark has been able to create the most lovable Texas team.
I think some of that's on Sark, too. I mean, he's just an easy guy to like. I mean, you heard the guys on ESPN this morning, and they're like, oh, that's how much they love Sark. I mean, he's just a pretty laid-back, fun guy. And, I mean, unless you're
the concern was going to be that I'll never love Texas football again because of this new era that these things are involved in. And Texas, I wrote about it. Like, this is an easy team to love. These are nice guys. Mm-hmm. These are charismatic guys.
I thought about that. Like, knock on wood, Catch. When's the last time we had to cover a story about a player getting in trouble? And I mean, it's been a while, right? So
when was the last time?
I can't even think, really. I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but it's been a bit. So
tell us in the chat who the last guy to get. I guess Ajay. Yeah, Blake said it.
We're not really getting in trouble. What are you talking about? Taking a boot off the car?
A boot on it. Yeah.
I don't even count that as getting in trouble. I mean, we haven't seen guys' names pop up in arrest report. There was a string there back in the day where it's like every month or so we were like, oh man, this guy's getting in pretty big trouble. But it's been
we've seen stretches of that. I mean, even Mac Brown, there was a period after the national championship game where guys like Brandon Collins and Ramonts got into trouble, and you had Robert Joseph and Andre Jones, and there was like a group of guys. There was a period where, remember when Longhorn fans were making fun of the Aggies because the Aggies had all those arrests in like a year and a half.
Did Billingsley get in trouble? What am I forgetting? I don't remember Billingsley getting.
No, Billingsley got hurt. Well, Billingsley was serving the suspension, and then Billingsley got into the doghouse.
Yeah, but he didn't get.
Billingsley had to sit out the first 6 games, but yeah, Billingsley didn't have any issues with the law.
Who's the receiver?
And if you'll remember, they let Billingsley come back for the pro day. Like, that didn't end as well as they wanted it to, but it didn't. I don't think it ended it with animosity necessarily.
He's going for the corner. Said we just don't hear about it. I don't think so. There might be a little bit of truth, but nowadays he's going for the corner. It's hard to keep stuff under wraps because everything is public record on police reports. Even if Orangebloods doesn't hear about it, somebody somewhere is going to hear about it. It's different nowadays. So
Anwar did report from, I guess it's going on Twitter, but Anwar says Sark said the positive news on Xavier Worthy is the x-rays were negative. Said Worthy has been dealing with an ankle for a little bit and can get healthy over the next few weeks. I mean,
I don't even want to reference what Omar just sent to us in the Slack. Did you see that, Catch?
Oh, I didn't, but let me go look. I'm way behind on Slack. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
He's basically saying the guys are having a good time.
The year, you can hang out in our Slack channel and read the stuff behind the stuff. I am not reading that on the air. Harry Orange Wookie, though, back in the super chat. Hey, Harry Orange Wookie, keep them coming. You and I can just have a personal conversation until Anwar gets here if you want to keep the super chats up. What a great feeling this is. What I'm about to read, truer words have never been written. It feels great being out of purgatory. I've been waiting for this since 2009. For once, we're not the laughing stock of college football. Hashtag all hell Sark. Hashtag hook 'em. Amen, brother. Amen. And yes, one more chance. Hey, you ask for it, you shall receive. Can we get another Portal Combat?
Round 1, fight! Finish him!
Oh, hey, did that play cleanly?
Yeah.
Or did that get like it did?
I think so.
Let me hear it again. Give me one more Portal Combat.
Round 1, fight! Finish him!
I wanted that Jason to sound like Satan was coming through our speakers, and We've almost pulled it off. I'm pretty pleased with Portal Combat. By the way, guys, if you're wondering, last play of the first quarter in Atlanta, Jalen Milroe almost intercepted. They're going to go into the second quarter, still 7-3. One more chance. You didn't just get one more Portal Combat. You got two.
Shout out to Mark Ruiz in the chat. My OB just renewed yesterday, worth every penny. Thank you, Mark Ruiz, dude.
There we go. I don't even think we've got an Orangebloods offer going at the moment.
No, we probably better get one going. Yeah, we should have probably been ahead of that. But yeah, we need.
I could probably email Josh to tell you what, Mark. You renewed, but if you're wondering, if you're watching the show here on Orangebloods Live, by the way, hit that thumbs up button right now. Smash it. I don't know why I did that voice. Just smash it. Subscribe to the channel, get notifications. If you're not on Orangebloods, and I promise, you know what this reminds me of? I'm not going to say the name, but because I've got Jason on here, 15 years ago in 2008, we had an ambitious young reporter working for Orangebloods who posted that Texas was making the playoff ahead of Oklahoma. And Jason and I knew that was wrong, and we couldn't scramble fast enough to get that taken down. And there were some people who never forgave that certain reporter.
Still don't, yeah.
Because people believed it.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't they, right? Oh, God. We'll be on top of it. Matter of fact, Jason, I haven't even talked to you about this yet. Maybe Blake mentioned it to somebody else. So the plan is tomorrow at 10:45 that we're going to go kind of balls to the wall live here on Orangebloods Live. I'd love for you to be a part of it. I haven't mentioned it yet. Anwar will be here. Chad will be here. It'll basically be our announcement show, watch along, reaction show kind of a thing where we'll give reaction. If Texas is in the playoffs, it'll probably turn into a big old show where we get some other college football reporters. If Texas is playing Georgia, we'll reach out to some of our Georgia people. Like, kind of depending on what goes on tomorrow, we're either going to have a massive playoff edition reaction show, or it'll be the opposite kind of reaction, and it won't last as long. But we'll all start it at 10:45 tomorrow morning. We'll at least probably be going from 10:45 to noon-ish. And if there's reason, if Texas is in the playoff, Jason doesn't necessarily have to stay for like the whole show beyond whatever. But yeah, we're going to get the Orangebloods gang together. Who knows? Maybe Travis Gailey from Get Your Horns Up will jump on. But the plan will be all day tomorrow, starting at about 10:45. We'll have all of the discussion and reaction and updates, everything that you could possibly want right here on Orangebloods Live. But, of course, on Orangebloods as well, you'll get the Sunday Pulpit tomorrow morning from Anwar Richardson, and my 10 thoughts from the weekend will be tomorrow night. So lots of stuff to look forward to in the next 24, 48 hours, both on the channel and on the website. Get your butt on over.
The rankings come out, is it right at 10:45? Is that what time the airing?
11:15. So 10:45 is a little bit of a build-up to wrap up everything that happened from today early in the show. And look, if we know that Florida State loses, then it's a little bit of a continuation of celebration, I suppose, you would think, at 10:45 tomorrow morning. If they win, then there will be conversation, and we'll all be waiting with bated breath to see exactly what happens. But we got you covered no matter what. And Chad and I might even do a Florida State Louisville. I think we're planning on it. We're not going to do the whole damn game, but if that game is close at halftime, and there's any reason at all for Texas fans to get excited about whatever the hell's happening in the ACC, Chad and I are going to jump back on here on Orangebloods Live later today. That's why we say get the notification. We'll come back tonight, and we'll continue the fun because we want to be with you on what could be and already is a historic day in the history of the Texas football program.
Well, if you want me on at 10:45 tomorrow, I better get this started early then. And
there it is. You have a cooler.
Come on, I'm gonna do a little celebrating today too. So
get you some in there. There's that Coors Light. Theron says, I feel like Shark showed what he can do today. Not perfect, but still feel his play calling can be elite. Theron,
perfect, man. I mean, seriously, the only nitpick I can think of is the end of the first half. We already talked about, right? And I thought coming out of the locker room in the third quarter, they were a bit, tentative, hesitant, if you will, conservative. But I'm honestly, I mean, no game's ever perfect, but he was damn close today, man.
The thing that just drives me crazy, I've never understood people who want Sark replaced as the play caller. That's his superpower.
Yeah.
If he were a Marvel superhero, his superpower would be his play calling. Now, he does other things really well. And I think sometimes it might even get in the way of game management and the way he thinks about things. Tom Herman talked about it when he was a head coach, that he thought he was a better head coach game manager not calling plays. But you need Sark. That's why Ryan Wingo's coming to Texas. It's Sark and Sark's offense. And
Bama in the red zone, by the way.
Yeah, and they were, today Texas in the red zone, 4 of 4 touchdowns. Wow. Against the number 4 red zone defense in the country. So
that's an incredible stat that we haven't even talked about.
That is one of the worst things they've done all year against the best team in the Big 12, against the thing you're terrible against. And Texas absolutely
actually 5 of 5 in the red zone. I'm showing catch. So I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if they're all touchdowns, but 5 of 5.
Well, no, they didn't kick it. Jason.
Well, yeah.
They did not kick. It's
my first beer
today.
I can't blame it on the beer either. It's my first.
All right, here we go. Harry Orange Wookie getting back in the business. That's 2 games in a row that we've played a complete game. Quinn balled out. Blue is a dog. Ant Hill is coming to be one of the best linebackers at UT. Harry Orange Wookie, you're on fire with these super chats.
You know what? I was pretty harsh on Texas mid-season when they were, the Houston stretch and the TCU, and I was like, this team is not a championship caliber team. I said it, and I was pretty harsh, and I admit it. But they are hitting their stride at the right time, and I think if this team gets into the college football playoff, I mean, they're gonna be a tough out. I do believe that. So,
Jason, what's interesting is, like I say this every year, the goal is to be better in October than September, November than October, and then December than November. Texas wasn't as good in October as they were in September, and they weren't as good for most of November than they were in September. But the last 2 weeks, they are playing their best football of the season. What did they win? 57-7 plus 49-21, which means
106
over the course
to 28, I think, if I'm right. So
nothing wrong with that. That's what whenever I say that about peaking at the end of the season, what they've done the last 2 weeks. And I think it's one of the big talking points, because if you're Sark, you can come out of today and say, nobody wants to play us in the playoffs.
He said we'll play anybody, anywhere. I think he said we'll play anybody.
Everybody wants to play Florida State. Nobody wants to play us. That needs to honestly be one of the things that Sark hammers home until the time they make this thing. Jeremy Griffey says, fucking hook 'em! Dominating win. Let's go, UGA and Louisville. Here you go, Jeremy. I will say the thing that you didn't want to type.
Clarify for me. Why does it help Texas if Georgia wins? Just because it takes Bama out of the equation?
It just clears out the clutter. Because look, if Florida State beats Louisville.
Wait, is Roger that far ahead? He just said TD Bama, and they're fixing to snap the ball on first.
I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I've got first.
He sure is. Damn it, Roger, quit spoiling it for us.
Yeah, don't be spoiling things. Even my ESPN Gamecast doesn't have. Oh, here it is. Yeah, that's a touchdown.
Well, you just hit your more on your prize picks on that one though, didn't you?
That officially wins me my $75.
That'll buy you a steak dinner tonight, brother. There you go, man. So
that paid for my steak dinner tonight from Perry's, or who knows, maybe a GI Joe with the Kung Fu grip for Christmas for one of my kids. Mike Torres says for $4.99. What a weekend so far! Brownsville Veterans Memorial last night. Texas winning a Big 12 championship today. What a time to be alive! Hook 'em, Mike. I'm glad you're in a good mood. I'm glad you're feeling good about it. This is a celebration. The Longhorns today have broken down the wall of crap from the last 14 years, and you should feel good. You should be celebrating. It is a fantastic weekend. And joining us right now from AT&T Stadium, he was there for Steve Sarkisian's post-game press conference. We've already given you the update that he gave us online, I think on Twitter officially. We maybe copied and pasted that about Xavier Worthy just moments ago. Anwar Richardson of Orangebloods.com is in the house.
The lucky playoff stash apparently has done its thing, Catch. I'm glad.
I've got the lucky shirt on today.
I feel like I wondered if I would have shaved it and showed up without it, what the reaction would have been.
I didn't know what you were talking about. Like, what do you got, a stash of money? What are we talking about? Oh, the mustache. Okay.
I do shows with you like twice a week, Jason.
Well, I've seen the mustache, but I didn't realize it was like the lucky playoff mustache. Okay.
It's turned into that, Jason.
Okay. All right.
It's turned. Yeah, I wish. So I know you're going to ask me what Sark kind of talked about, and I think like the main things that are kind of relevant for the conversation. I'm sure that you guys haven't been able to hear you, and I don't know if you're hearing someone talking.
Okay.
Okay, it's a press conference going on, and they got that thing kind of pumped in. Essentially, Sark was just kind of, you know how before he said like, "Hey, it's up to you guys in the media in order to make a case for us for the CFP." Today was the day where Sark made his case for the CFP and why he felt like this was a CFP team. He talked about I know you'll laugh, Catch, but they'll talk about, hey, they're 3 non-conference opponents. We're all bowl eligible.
Hey, it's what you should be saying.
Yes, he's like all the 3 got, he said it was his interesting stat, Catch. He said that since the Oklahoma game that they haven't trailed. They've only trailed twice against opponents since the OU game. And so he basically outlines from their body of work how good they've been doing. So their last 2 games are probably the best games that they played all year long. And so for his, for his money's worth, he feels like they should be amongst the top 4, regardless of it. Anybody else. He said that he feels like they can play anybody in the country. He feels really good about, where they are as a team. And so I would say today was the day where he really kind of outlined his reasons as to why that should happen. Said they may have a watch party tomorrow. I told all the guys to kind of be ready, for that. But I think for me, the biggest takeaway has been he feels he basically made the case as to why they should be a college football playoff team.
Interesting. Jason, before we let you go or before you choose to leave, anything you want to ask Anwar? Because I feel like I've got a pile of thoughts in my head of I want to ask him about the post game and on the field and all of that stuff. So I'll let you actually start it out.
Nothing too pressing. I didn't get to see it, Anwar. I'm curious the trophy presentation. What was the vibe in the stadium like with I want to go back and watch it because I didn't get to see it.
Oh my gosh, it was so bad.
People in the chat were like, they were booing and they had to, like, did Sark have to tell the crowd to quiet it down or something?
Yes.
He tried. No. He tried to get the calm. He Jason, when like the quarterback goes on and the stadium's loud, so they kind of do the hush thing to get those people to be quiet. That's what he was doing. No one gave a damn. The problem is no one gave a damn.
Probably riled him up even more, right? Probably just
initially, I think they said, all right, maybe. And then I think everybody realized, you know what, this is our final chance. Like, the hell with this. And then they literally just booed him. You couldn't hear anything that Yormark was saying. I'll be honest with you. You couldn't hear anything. They were chanting SEC, which I kind of thought what would happen. But they did it on multiple occasions, chanting
at the Big 12 championship game, chanting SEC. That's a kick in the balls for the Big 12.
Yep. But I said on my show, I thought that was going to happen. I said that for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I was like, that is going to happen. Mark's going to get on a podium, he's going to get booed, and there's going to be a chance of SEC, and that happened. So, sure, they cheered for Quinn.
I think it's funny that I had people all week long tell me, no, because I was saying Texas fans are dying to do it. Texas fans have been saying for years they would never chant SEC if they were in the SEC. But I was like, they are dying to do it Saturday trophy presentation. And I had people argue with me, you're not a real Longhorn if you chant SEC on Saturday.
No.
It got chanted today by real Longhorns.
But the thing is, what people didn't understand was it wasn't getting chanted because everyone was like happy about the SEC. It was just to stick it up Mark's ass. Like, that's all that was.
Omar, I said that when we started our show. I was like, that was 5 seconds out of his life where he made those comments at that Texas Tech thing. How awkward has that made the last few weeks of his life? You don't think he would have those? Yeah. God, he would just want to take those 5 seconds.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Really?
Jason. Nope. He was asked about. No, Jason. He was asked about that today. He was asked.
He
about
wouldn't
that
admit it
the
if he wanted to, probably. But
he had to operate. Well, Jason, there's no sympathy here. If the guy you've given an opportunity, he was asked, "Hey, what have you learned about those comments?" And he said, "I don't look backwards. I look forward." And So he told me.
You look like a dumbass though now, and everybody's goofing on you. Don't think he regrets it a little bit?
I don't think he's arrogant. Jason,
someone in our Slack channel said his daughter was flipping off Texas fans.
That's allegedly. I mean, it was 1 against 20,000 at that point. 1 against 30,000. It doesn't. He opened the door. He never closed it, and everybody knew. So
good for the daughter if that did happen. Like, way to stand up for your old man in the face of an entire stadium yelling at you.
My daughters do that for me someday, right?
I do too. Hey, ride or die, family style.
Well, they both took an L today. Regardless, she may have had a little bird. These people have a moment and they have a lifetime. So they both took L's.
Harry Orange Wookie, $20 super chat. Buy a round for the whole OB crew on me. I'm on cloud 9, euphoric, orgasmic. Hashtag can't F up my mood. Hashtag hell yeah, brother. Blake, the producer, is a beast. Hashtag Nash Talks Texas. Wow,
amen to all of it. There. Amen to all of it, and amen. Harry Orange Wookie's been our biggest fan today. So
yes, keep it up, Harry Orange Wookie,
brother.
I know. Cheers. Jason and I will toast.
I appreciate the super chat. I want to tell you, Harry Orange Wookie, I don't know if you've been out lately. $20 probably won't buy us the whole OB crew a drink. Like I
think you buy the 3 of us a drink. Yeah.
Well, I'm not drinking.
Maybe 2.
So
Jason and I might be able to do that and then chip in. But I do appreciate it. I just want to tell you, I do appreciate the super chat.
Lucius jumps in real quick. Anwar, the $9.99 super chat. It's for you. Says Anwar. Wait, hold on. Where did it go? I thought this was for you. Super question. Name your price tag to keep the stash for another month if we make the playoffs.
I mean, what's it worth to you? I mean, that really becomes the question. Like, what do you think it's worth to you?
You're in a no-win situation, Omar. No-win situation. If they make the playoffs and you shave the stash and then they lose, people are going to hold it against you. So you're in a no-win situation.
I've had these conversations, Jason. I'm well aware.
By the way, just a couple of other super chat questions.
I've had these conversations a lot.
Can we rip off the Big 12 logo on our uniforms now?
I'm probably until maybe after the season. I think you have to wait because you're still representing the Big 12.
Technically make them wear them still.
Yeah, you're still representing the conference, so you can do all that afterwards. But
the Big 12 champions, keep the logo on while you're the champ.
Yeah, I mean, look, Big 12 champions, you're if you got to put a banner in the stadium or whatever for Big 12 champions, like you're going to put that up, right? I mean, you should put something up to celebrate it, or put something up in the Hall of Fame area, the North End Zone, something like that. So yeah, it's the thing is, you never have to worry about caring deeply about the Big 12 ever again after today. Today's literally the last day personally you ever have to care about them.
You can put that tattoo of like no regrets on your chest at this point as it relates to the Big 12. You're done. You cashed out in the dream scenario. And Anwar, it goes back a long time, right? Like to 1995 when Texas left the Southwest Conference. It was not too dissimilar. The end of the Southwest Conference was not too dissimilar from the end of the Big 12 in that before the 95 season, they had won one in 1990, but the 80s were just a disaster following. So from like 84 to 94, Texas was just getting their head kicked in. And then you go into the last year of the Southwest Conference, and there was a lot more stress around that than there was around the Big 12. And you win, and then you just never think about it ever again. You get to leave on top. It's the Terrell Davis, it's the John Elway way of leaving, right? Where it's like, I leave as a champion. You can't say anything about me. And yes, Jeremy, by the way, Jeremy helping in the super chats as well. He's bought a round or two. Now we can talk about playoffs. Yes, we can. Where do you think Texas is getting in right now?
I want to say yes. You know why I want to say I'm saying it's because I want you the Georgia-Alabama game behind me. This is going to be a close one, right? And it looks like Georgia's kicking just right off the upright. Just missed a field goal. The Georgia guy did. So now it's still 10-7 Alabama.
You're way ahead of me. They just
Spoilers.
They just called the false start on them.
Oh my God.
Here it comes. It's 4th and 23.
Oh, my bad.
50-yard field goal attempt. It is. Oh, it's no good. It hits off the post. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so this is almost like Back to the Future when I have the book and I got all the bets, and I could just tell you guys in the past, like you guys could all be Biff Loman and be rich apparently.
You knew Biff's last name, dude. That's impressive.
Hey, by the way,
I watched that stuff a lot.
Onward. $1,500.
Oh.
Out the window because Bert Auburn got stuck on 7 kicking points.
0.5. Oh.
I was bitching about my loss and then heard about catches. Mine failed this marathon.
How you are smiling at this moment in that pain.
I mean, you know what? Because I'm ahead today.
Still, that's. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I still win brutal. Like double, right? So I walk away with 150. Yeah.
But you almost wish you only kicked like one at that point, so you weren't so close.
It's why I took what happened at the end of the first half so seriously. Come on, Sark. Call a timeout. What are we doing? Why are we rushing? Why are we taking a 5-yard penalty for a delay of game? I could see it coming a mile away, and I'm over it.
There was a dude just called a timeout. Like, what are you doing? And it's funny, like, you know, Travis was on the Slack channel trying to explain how the rules had been done and wrong. It's like, yeah, Travis, that sounds good. He could have called a timeout though. Like, and he's like, but it's a misappropriation. It's like, yeah, Travis, but he could have called a timeout. Like, you're really overthinking this as a fan. Like, just call the damn timeout. But Catch, to answer your question, you know, here's the deal, Catch. The committee has been all about what they've said. They've been about the eyeball test, right? And they've been more about the eyeball test than the stats and the numbers recently, right? And so that's been the justification for Oregon. So, all right, well, Oregon had the quote-unquote style points. Well, Texas right now will have your quote-unquote style points plus the body of work, that / resume that you would want, where I would argue, I think you can, as tough as it may seem, I think you can argue against an FSU team for what they've accomplished lately. So I think there's a strong, when they said they want to put the 4 best teams in the playoff. Well, we all know that FSU is not one of the best teams. And we all know if you put FSU in the playoffs, Catch, they're going to get curb stomped by somebody. Whoever they play is going to kick their ass. That's just, we know that. And we've seen the odds makers put the numbers out that says if you put in FSU, they're going to get their ass kicked. So unless you're hoping for some sort of TCU miracle, they're really not one of the 4 best teams. Texas would be in that it should be in that mix. So yeah, I would say they should be a team that gets in.
Lucius says $500 super chat to keep it through the first playoff game. If they make it. So
well, let's have the conversation tomorrow.
If they make it, you get 500 no matter what. It's a game of let's make a deal.
Well, you know what? I mean, I like it, but I'm not gonna I got to see if it's worth 500. So Lucius, I like it. I want you to sleep on it. Catch and I'll be here tomorrow, and then we'll have a conversation about it. Because we got to see if they get in. And then if they get in, because right now, the stash has gotten you to this point, correct? So now it's about tomorrow. If it gets you in tomorrow, then we have to have a conversation. Because then it's a threat.
Can I be your agent, Anwar?
Yeah, go ahead, Catch.
$1,000. And we'll say yes. Because again, the terms are if we make it. So he's saying he'd do 500 right now, and it stays through the first playoff game if we make it. But if he gives 500 right now and they don't make it, you get the $500 and you can shave it off.
Hey, make it 1,000. I'll start growing a mustache. For 1,000, I'll grow a mustache with Anwar for 1,000.
Jason's like, hey, over here.
He's like, I'll grow whatever you want.
I'll grow some big sideburns and a mustache.
I'll grow that Abe Lincoln sideburns if we're into hoard ourselves out for some cash with facial hair.
Jason will come in looking like Goose Gossage in about a week or so.
A Goose Gossage reference. All right.
I love that. Jake, by the way, says for $1.99. In all caps, vibes are immaculate. I'm thinking of that commercial where the guy's drinking the cranberry juice and going down like the freeway on his little skateboard.
Oh,
you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about that right now, Jake. I'm imagining you watching the show on your phone while you just cruise around with the weather and everything feeling good.
Well, by the way, can I tell you something? Can I tell you something about feeling good? I'm not going to say who or where. I'm just going to tell you that the greenery smell downstairs, very beautiful. Just going.
Hey,
I'm just going to.
For $19.99, Jeff says, "Go Horns! Can we all take a shot? Regardless, lesser CFP season is a success." Hey, Jeff, Anwar can't right now. But Jason and I can. You got another cord?
Hold on. Let me dig in this cooler I got over here. Now I was supposed to shotgun one, but nobody's called me out. So.
Well, you shotgun. I'll take 5 hits off of this.
Wow.
That's the equivalent of a shotgun. In fact, I'm heating up my pen as we speak. You go ahead and crack it, Jason, so we can get the sound effect.
Well, I can't crack it. I got to put the hole in it first.
Oh, that's right. You're doing a shotgun.
Yeah.
Which is not the same thing.
Hold on. I'm going to make a mess here, probably. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
All right.
Jason's acting like he's done this before, Anwar, back in the day.
You know what's crazy? Yeah, when he did it before, the way he was starting to open it, I really doubted where this was headed.
Yeah. You ready, Anwar?
Yeah, I'm ready. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Look at this party. Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
That was 6.
I gotta mute myself.
Okay, so clearly I need to take over this portion of the show.
Just for a second.
Woo! That was like what's the guy, Buddy the Elf, when he lets that burp at the table? It's like, did you guys hear that? Thank God I have a mute button. My goodness.
Wow.
Give us that again, Blake.
What the hell was that?
Someone did a super chat for like $20, and at the end it was like 8 with about 20 H's, exclamation marks. So that was Chad literally sounding out the
It sounded like he was finishing, is what it sounded like. Just look at his face.
I don't
Look
need
at his face. Blake, put it up again. Put it up again.
What's going on under that?
That's what I was. That looked like he finished. That's what that looked like.
Okay.
Oh,
This is what we do in the. By the way, we're having a good time. It's a historic day. A few things. Thanks to Adam Loewy Law Firm. He's ridden shotgun with Anwar and I.
Ride or
For
die.
almost a decade now.
He's been out boo.
And he's never wavered. Every time there's been a shitty season, he's like, sign me up the next year. And now they're Big 12 champions. And Adam, I hope you're out there watching. If you need a personal injury lawyer, I would suggest Adam Loewy. He will get you the money that you want before he becomes the governor of the state of Texas. So thank you to Adam Loewy. Can't stress it enough. If you're down with Orangebloods, you got to be down with Adam Loewy. He uses the website. He's a true Orangeblood. Like, sometimes he even says stupid shit on the message board. That's how much of an Orangeblood he is. He's like me. He's like Jason. I can't really remember Anwar saying stupid stuff on the website, but has it ever happened?
I don't know. I've been fortunate. Because I avoid it. Because I just see traps. I view OB as traps everywhere. And so everything. Now, the only time some things happen, sometimes I might be like 10 o'clock or so, and I might have a back and forth with someone, but I usually don't say. As you know, Catch, I'm very careful with my words. I don't like percentages. I don't like to put myself out there too much. If I hear something on a Tuesday that a guy has broken his leg in 16 different parts, I'm like, yo, he's got a lower leg injury.
I will say during the Baylor game, you had Dave Aranda as a trash can.
Oh, well, that did. Well, that was true though. I mean, they're not
all
bowl
I'm
eligible.
saying is there are people who do sponsorships, and it's like, oh, they're not really one of us. You know, that's just somebody trying to piggyback off of Orangebloods and the popularity. And he bleeds orange. You go to the Moody Center. He's there. You go to the games. He's there. I'm just on the day that the Big 12 is back in the UT possession. I just want to give a shout out to Adam Loewy because he's just been really, really good to us for a long time. Plus, I did just take 6 hits on my pen. So, who the hell knows what's going through my head at this point. By the way, Angry Hammer with a stat for you on the super chat. Texas is the first Power 5 team in the past 20 seasons to put up 400 yards and 35 points in a single half of a championship game. Texas 2010 on the eye test. Anwar. Jason and I.
That was a ESPN stats and info thing, I believe. Yeah, ESPN stat.
Sark was at his best today from a play calling standpoint. I'll let you have a chance to just kind of comment on, when we talk about like, how dare you even suggest Sark not be the play caller to bring somebody else in. Today's the kind of day that when we snicker at people who make that suggestion, today he flexed and reminded us of why this is a superpower of his when he wants to flex.
Well, this is loaded. Okay. So from a play calling perspective, clearly that little fake run, Quinn Ewers turn around, throw it to the other side kind of thing. Like that worked. It's like he just ran that. It was like a PlayStation game. He's like, I'm just going to keep running this and running this and running this and keep getting yards and yards and yards. And he had them confused the whole time. Like, Sarkisian talked about the play to Tavondre Sweat, right? And he said that Oklahoma State responded the way they thought they would, that Tavondre would be wide open. In fact, they told him in practice, you're going to be wide open. And so Sark said, I think it was just the other day that when they were practicing it, Sweat like bobbled the ball. He's like, hey, man, don't mess with me, man. You got to catch this ball. And so and then he called it. He said, look, you're going to catch the ball. And he goes, and I want you to celebrate on the sidelines and don't get a penalty. So he's like, those are the two instructions: catch it and don't get a penalty. But he knew that was going to happen. And so he felt really comfortable, about that. You could see from a play calling perspective, not only honestly catch from a offensive play calling perspective, but even from a defensive play calling perspective. All this, we got to replace Pete K. These guys are playing off. Why they're giving up these crossing routes? Like, what the hell? When we're gonna get Gary Patterson in here? Because Pete K, like anytime Gary Patterson blinks, it's like, oh, Gary Patterson's attending a game. Like, whoa, like could he come back and be the defensive coordinator? Like all that, like from a play calling perspective, that went well as well, because you haven't blinked over the past couple of weeks. You haven't thought about the defense. All you thought is like, these guys are dominant, and it didn't matter who the hell you had in there. And you lose Ryan Watts, you put in Malik Muhammad, you have potentially an upgrade, if we're just being quite honest with you. So you have that. So I want to put that out there first. The second thing I want to put out there from a play calling perspective, and I don't know how much you guys have or haven't talked about it, Quinn Ewers ends up having a freaking historic game. Yeah. One of the best games in Texas football history, not bowl history, just history of the Longhorn program. And that's a lot. That's lots on Quinn, who deserves a lot of respect for what he was able to do at, a 183 percentage, 452 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. I mean, he's sick what he was able to do, but he was able to do that because of the play calling of Sark. He said the one thing that Quinn did really well is when his first reads were there, he was very, very accurate. But then when he came to his second reads, he was also accurate. So on both levels, he said just first read was there, he got it. Second read, he was also really patient there. So yeah, Coach, when you look at the play calling, that's why I said it's a little bit loaded, because Sark he did a number on Gundy. Gundy didn't have any answers. There was no second half adjustment that led to, the ultimate demise or close game of this team. But then you also have, him being able to call plays for Quinn in a way where Quinn, when we've been like, oh, is this guy a first round quarterback? Is this guy, an NFL guy? This was the game that you point at and go, oh, yeah, I got it. I can absolutely see it, because throwing for nearly 500 yards is pretty damn impressive.
Alabama goes for it on 4th down and converts, guys. They're in the red zone.
You got to tell Anwar.
I can tell you what happens next.
No, don't.
I'm not going to tell you. Just wait. Don't say anything. Just watch it right now.
And there's some
watch it right now.
Stuff in the chat about the targeting call.
Just wait. Forget about that. Just watch what the game is. Watch the game.
I'm looking at 2nd and 10. They just snapped it.
That's why.
Oh, nice catch. Yeah.
And now the SEC championship game going into the second half gets really, really interesting, in part because I told Jason before the game started, I thought, by the way, if you're not watching, Alabama just scored a touchdown late second quarter, PAT pending. It's going to be 17-7 with about 48 seconds, I think is what I saw left on the clock. So Georgia, I guess, would have time still to try to go get a field goal. But Alabama, a 9-play, 68-yard drive ends in a touchdown. Jalen Milroe doing that thing. This game goes this way, and Georgia would be out if it was like this.
Carson Beck has been really good like the last half of the season. Like I've ridden him on Prize Picks, and he's busted those moors like crazy. 8 of 11 for 85 yards. Alabama doing a really good job of keeping him in check. So.
Catch, I'm starting to believe it should be Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama.
Harry Orange Wookie says, Anwar, with all due respect, please release the caterpillar you have taped to your upper lip. Hook 'em. That ain't nice. Come on, Harry Orange Wookie.
Well, it's the thing is, it's not an insult because I don't like it. So it's not, you're not. Well, here's the problem. Other people do, which is crazy to me. I went out last night. I was at Texas Live last night. I was out with a bunch of OB people. I was out with El Presidente. South End Zone Queen was there. Tom G showed up for a little bit. And there was a few other people. And then the people they started asking, like, do you like it? And they were like, some people like, why didn't you see a before picture? I put a before picture, and some people really like the after. It's like, I like this. They said you clean it up a little bit, but they like it. I want to shave it.
Well, now that someone's told you that would make me want to shave it.
Onward, every year when the weather starts getting cooler, I'm like, I'm gonna grow a beard. And I get like 3 days in, and it just starts itching, and I just can't do it. So, how long have you been working on that mustache?
Since the end of October.
Okay,
the last weekend of October.
I never tried just the mustache, but I just can't handle just. So good for you.
It looks good, but clearly I'm not dating Anwar, so my opinion.
She likes it, but
I'm on the record.
I'm fine with shaving it though. So anyway,
and ultimately it is kind of, how you feel about it. Mark D says, every silly, stupid thing is funny after a kick-ass conference championship. Mark?
Yes.
100%.
100%.
Everything's funnier. I'll tell you what else everything's funnier with, some Rogue. If you just, FYI, a little bit of Rogue, world gets funnier. Angry Hammer is back in the super chat. Would love to hear Loewy's take on Sark versus Petrino now. See, like I said, Adam's a true orange blood. Sometimes you get on the message board and you say something, and then 6 months later, people remind you of the thing that you said. That's why you go to Adam Loewy, because he bleeds orange so much so that he's got an occasional hot take on orange bloods that you love, you hate, you're in the middle, you think about it 6 months later. That's why you love him.
17 straight for Bama, 17-7 at the half.
That's crazy.
Wow.
If that whole, and by the way, can I say this? Does it, when you look at this and then you look at the SEC production, I'm telling you, like, it's like night and day for what their production looks like, just from the game standpoint, the game day atmosphere, like all of that. It's like,
but it seemed like today in the Big 12, they had I liked the WWE thing.
I didn't like it on this field though. I thought it was kind of corny on the field.
Yeah,
I thought it was corny.
What about the belt?
The belt's badass though.
Yeah.
But now the belt's badass, like that, because it's almost, a lot of fantasy football leagues have been doing championship belts for years, so that's kind of been a standard. So it makes sense for something like that. The Nelly concert at halftime was cool. Like it's one of those things though, when you're watching it, you're like, oh man, we're old. Because he's singing it, but when the edgy rappers are performing at halftime of your games, now like they're old now, right? I mean, just like the Little Kim performs at halftime of games, like Ja Rule's been performing at, like all these like cutting edge people like perform at halftime, like Eminem. Like now you're just old. But it's good though.
Well, I'm going to go buy a steak at HEB before they run out, and I'm going to
go do it, Jason. Thanks for hanging out. Onward, and I'll close it down.
See y'all tomorrow morning, it sounds like, right?
10:45.
10:45. Yeah, I'm trying to decide. I was going to stay here tonight, Catch, and then I was deciding if I should just go back and just be ready to be in place for tomorrow. I want to see FSU Louisville, but then I'm thinking maybe I should just watch Bama versus what's its face, and then head out. I'm kind of unsure.
7:30. You should have enough time to get back and not feel like you're totally sweating it.
Yeah, but I want to catch the second half though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, you're talking about of tonight? I was saying if you leave tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tonight. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave first thing in the morning. I think I'm going to leave at 7. Yeah, and then get my column done like tonight for something to that effect, and then be good.
Yeah. I think you should. Jeff says for $4.99, I had to watch the game while I was at drill. So happy. It's been a great year, OB. Hook 'em. Well, thank you, Jess. C13.
Yeah, man.
I hope drill's over and you can just enjoy it now with a cold bevy, with some roe, whatever it is that makes you feel even better. I hope you have it tonight.
Yes. 100%. Do something for yourself. Enjoy it. Go get a steak like Jason.
Onward, we're almost 2 hours in.
Yeah.
We talked about Quinn. I mean, he was the MVP of this game 10 minutes in. I mean, hold on. His first quarter, which by the way, I don't know if you saw my first quarter tweet when he was 100% completion percentage, but I was saying that Boo was probably a fan of that. 11 for 11 in the first quarter for $167 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, the belt was decided immediately. Jatavian Sanders, we've talked about him on the postgame show, but is probably his best game since Alabama.
Yeah.
So it's good to just see, because that's how Sanders, for me, can be used every week if they want to. 9 targets, 8 receptions, and was just generally unstoppable. Yes.
One of the reasons why I said he's the person you got to take in prize picks, because he's healthy now, and he's slowed down because he had a high ankle sprain, but now that he's healthy, he's back to being who that guy is. And so now healthy, he's dominant and damn near impossible to stop.
Yeah. And Adonai Mitchell was fantastic today.
Yeah.
Another 100-yard games for Adonai, average 18.2 yards per reception. Xavier, before he went out, felt like he scared Oklahoma State. Whittington, big 4 for 48 in the first half. I mean, Sark really measured it out, and really the distribution was as good as it's been all season. But again, if you missed it, let me give you some of the stats from a team standpoint, what they did today. Texas finishes with 662 total yards.
It's crazy.
To 281 for Oklahoma State.
Crazy.
They not only doubled them up, they nearly 400 them up in total yards. Texas averaged 5 yards per carry. Oklahoma State with Ollie Gordon, 1.7. Yards gained rushing, 42. Texas, 211. Completion percentage, Oklahoma State 58, Texas 77. Everything about today. First downs, Oklahoma State 13, Texas 33.
That's domestic ass kicking.
Again, Texas was 5 of 5 in the red zone, all touchdowns against the number 4 team in the country in defense in the red zone. So the thing that Texas has struggled with all season long, they were dominant in against a team that's the thing they do. They make teams kick field goals. And Texas didn't take no field goals today, sadly. Otherwise, I'd be $1,500 richer.
Feels so bad for you, dude.
On third and fourth downs, Texas was 12 of 18 combined. So on big downs, they were 66.7%. Texas had the ball for 40 minutes and 6 seconds. They punted once today. I mean, it's everywhere you look. It was a fantastic performance. And in these last 2 weeks, as you mentioned, Sark said in this game, like they found themselves in the last 2 weeks playing their best football. This might be what it looks like when Texas plays 4 quarters. If you ask him this week, time he's available for the media, Sark, when's the last time your team played a 4-quarter game? I'm guessing he's going to say, last night, bitch. Like,
he ain't gonna be mad this time.
He can flex. He can answer questions and be like, aha. And, kudos to this team. And defensively, we mentioned Anthony Hill. His first half, 6 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble. He was everywhere. But defensively, they were just really good today. It wasn't like there was a true star. It was a complete 11-man at all times unit doing really well. Other than they didn't do well. Texas, the one thing it didn't do today, Anwar, was Oklahoma State got the ball into the red zone 3 times, and they also got 3 touchdowns, which means both teams 8 for 8 with 8 touchdowns in the red zone today, which is statistically an anomaly. That never happens. Talk all those things I kind of mentioned. The thing that you want to talk about the most is what?
Well, one, I won't be talking long because my battery's about to die.
Fair enough.
So we know how that goes. I honestly, Catch, I may have to borrow that thing where, Sark, how he's always keeps saying, like, they keep finding ways to win in different areas. And it's kind of like, this is one of those, hell, damn, they're finding a way to win just about every area. I think for me, Catch, out of all of them, as opposed to individualistic, I would say holistically, this team over the last 2 weeks, we've been asking about when they're going to play 4 quarters, right? They are playing 4 quarters. What has Sark said? He's like, good teams get better as the season progresses. And over the last couple of weeks, we can definitely feel that and see that. And so, yeah, for me, this is kind of like almost like the coronation of everything he's been talking about, everything he's kind of been promising, everything he's been discussing. Like, I kind of feel like we finally have seen this team, which without Jonathan Brooks, by the way, which is also impressive, just to be able to say that. I mean, and by the way, great moment at the end to allow Jonathan Brooks to have that, just at least be on the field so he can be a part of it. So, by the way, that was an amazing moment, just to say that. But to be able to do that without a guy who's supposed to be your first round running back, that in itself, I think the whole thing, how it's been coming together, has been extremely impressive.
My last question, actually, and I'm okay with letting this be the last thought, considering your battery's about to die. Did you get the sense that Sark, it's sunk in yet? That this is the biggest day of his coaching life. He's a champion now. The Rays, like it sounds like he was so plugged in still to the moment. When you saw him, did it feel like he had yet had a moment to appreciate what he's just accomplished and his coaching staff? I mean, there's no question they've worked really, really hard for this moment. I don't know that so soon after the game that it can sink in. Maybe that's happening now, but I wondered if you could tell whether or not it had yet for Sark.
I would say so, because one of the things I had asked him, Catch, was essentially like, hey, regardless of what happens on Sunday, will you view this as a successful season? And sometimes when somebody asks something, Sark, and he's like, hell yeah, like that, or why'd you ask me that? Like, he didn't have a why you asked me that, but he's like, yeah, this is a successful season. He started talking about the things that they've been working on. He's like, they made it a goal to be a champion before the season. They have achieved that goal. We got guys walking around here with championship hats. And so I think it's sunk in, like, they are champions. They are Big 12 champions. I think he fully can now embrace it and not have to worry about, hey, we got another game. And then he goes, hey, we do have another game. It's a bowl game. But, I think he can fully embrace, like, we've done this, we've accomplished this, have that moment. Hell, they may have a watch party tomorrow, right? So that's something that could be a cool moment, or, cool or not, but regardless, knowing that they were able to go out and they have accomplished their goal, I'm sure, Catch, for him, he's not oblivious to the criticisms that he has received over the past few years, and even up to the season. And he knew even from the beginning of the year the things he's getting criticized about to get to this point. I know he has to be very excited, very relieved about it, and being able to enjoy it. This was the past couple of weeks. We've probably seen Sark and his happiest and most laid back, and I think it's because I think he knows. When he said before the season he's finally got the team that he wants, Catch, we see why he said that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, guys, let's do this one last time. Hit that thumbs up button. Do it for us. It's Big 12 championship game. Helps the algorithm. There's no reason of all the videos you're ever going to click the thumbs up button for. How about a Big 12 championship edition show?
Yes.
Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, get notifications. We may be going live tonight. Who the hell knows what's going to happen in this SEC championship game? Florida State, Louisville. If it looks like Texas is even sniffing the playoff tonight, we'll probably hop on tonight and do a little bit of a watch along there just for the grins of it all. Let's share it all together. We'll have all day coverage tomorrow, starting at about 10:45. Texas 49, Oklahoma State 21. Your Texas Longhorns exit the Big 12. Champions again. Be safe tonight, but by God, live it up like you haven't lived it up in a long, long time. For myself and the man who's at AT&T Stadium right now, Anwar Richardson, and Jason Sukumel, and Blake, who's done a fantastic job giving me Portal Combat noise every time I've wanted it today. Fantastic job, fantastic day. We'll see you soon.